So I'm going to talk about the confusion that we have over the difference between a man is man and a woman is a woman. If you've watched me enough, you already know I'm not a big fan of one-liners, and I have absolutely no respect for one-liners whatsoever. You have to combine them too much in order to reach any intelligible actual advice or actual value. And this is one of the ones that absolutely has no value. Never mind the quandaries over the fact that, we've only had the right to vote for a little over 100 years. Never mind the fact that we've only had a right to our own bank accounts for 50 years now. Never mind the fact that only in the last, 55 years has it even been legal for men to buy condoms, because it used to be illegal to ship them. Some of you hoes, especially you boy hoes, you better start thinking about that before you get all on board with this. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. For some of you incels, you ain't getting none anyway. So, but we constantly get into this quandary of what sexual equality actually means. So take the sexual out of it. Equality. What does equality mean? What does equality, if there's no sexes, if it's just male and female, whatever, ignore that. What is equality? Right? Oh my God. Next thing you know, there's a lot of men that are confused. And unfortunately, a lot of women too. So, let me explain a different way of thinking about it, because I think that's a large portion of people's problems. Is when you use that one-liner, totally ignore the reality of the world, because it's just a one-liner. It's ridiculous. We have had that one-liner used for literally thousands of years. They used it against Joan of Arc. They used it against Catherine the Great. They used it against Queen Elizabeth I. They even actually used it against Queen Elizabeth II. So these are some of the greatest leaders of the last couple millennia. And they still use that one-liner against them. So we need to kind of talk about this stupid one-liner, but I want to put it in a different context altogether. Because it is a dumb one-liner, and I think when we get done, you're going to kind of understand why. So let's talk about a comparison, a comparative study. Follow along, right? So American football, we teach boys American football. Most girls do not necessarily play American football, nor are there any female NFL players. So there's no reason for us not to understand that this seems to be a male, at least very male dominated sport. And it's also a very violent sport when it comes down to it, right? You're supposed to knock the stuffing out of somebody, right? That's the whole goal. That's why all the pads. They're supposed to slap each other's asses and headbutt each other, and they slam each other's, I don't know what this is called, when they jump up and they slam their chests, and I've seen a couple of them land on their ass. That is not appropriate behavior for a restaurant, is it, boys and girls? Did I catch you off guard there? I hope I did. Because, let's be honest, when you play sports and you teach your kids sports, you also teach them in social settings a lot of the stuff they do in their sports is not appropriate behavior. Now, I'm going to take it even further, because I'm sure some soccer, real football fans, feel a little bit ignored here, but let's be honest. Even sport to sport, just like workplace to workplace, have different rules and different expectations. in football/soccer, you get hit by another player, you're expected to thrash around on the floor like a drama king or queen, and your main goal is to get a card against the other player. In American football, they take a hit like that, they got broken ankle, they broke their neck. Get out there and play! What's wrong? God. What are you, pussified? Get up, get out there and play. For those of you that have never seen girls play field hockey, yeah, girls know how to be just as violent. Women know how to be just as violent if they play field hockey. They are more violent than lacrosse, American football, and soccer added up together. So, this idea that we can't teach our children, we can't teach boys and girls to understand boundaries and the difference between a workplace environment, a football field, or a sports game versus how they act socially is ridiculous. And that one-liner definitely does not convey a truth in it at all when we talk about the differences there, does it? So it's mind-boggling to me that anyone thinks that one-liner fits anybody, because it just doesn't. It doesn't fit our society at all. It hasn't since it was probably first conceived. It was just a nice way to put women back in their place, specifically women that have attained leadership roles. And so now, let's talk about the work environments that some people are still in, because I retired. And I don't care if you're male or female. You're there. You're a paid employee. You're there for the company's benefit. You are there to expand your own knowledge, probably in your own experience, so you can get more money, better roles, whatever. No one is there to be ridiculed by some insecure jerk because he doesn't want another guy to be better than him, or he doesn't want a woman, even worse, to be better than him. Get over it. That whiny man is going to be whiny whether or not he's whiny against a woman or a man. The difference is a woman is an easier target for him. And if the women are gone for you whiny boys that pretend that you're not whiny, you're his new target. I'm a big fan of office politics, but that's just the facts, Jack. And let's get it in our head. Let's get it out of our heads that women are there to steal somebody's man or steal somebody's husband. Because let's talk about where that actually came from, ladies and boys. Because I think some men already will know this answer. But pre-1980s, 80s and back, even early 90s in a lot of ways. If you listen to a lot of different people talk about the 90s, definitely. Women were secretaries, right? It wasn't until the late 70s, 80s, they started, becoming more into other fields. So 50s and 60s, most definitely, women were secretaries. And what were the secretaries there for? Every movie you ever watched, they were either there to find a husband or as a piece of ass. They certainly were treated that way, whether they wanted to be treated that way or not. Refer back to movies like 9 to 5. Or you can watch my favorite from the 1980s if you really want to, call them Gen Xers on their bullshit. Because you know how much I love my own generation when they start talking about how kumbaya we were. We were so kumbaya that we had a movie called Working Girl that worked on the double entendre of the meaning working girl. Because I don't know if Gen Z will know this. Millennials, maybe not. But Gen X and boomers definitely know that working girl is a double entendre. Working girl referred to all those women entering the workforce, trying to make a living, trying to feed their kids, trying to keep a roof over their heads. It also is slang for a hooker. In the 1980s, there was a movie made with Melanie Griffith and Harrison Ford, Alec Baldwin. And Alec Baldwin plays her boyfriend that she lives with and wannabe fiance who's fucking anything that moves, it looks like. And, you know, then, you know, she's a secretary and all the guys she works with think she's a piece of ass that can easily be traded off and attempted to trade off. And she's not even that kind of woman. So now she's really in a spot, ain't she? But, you know, that didn't matter back then. Put up with it, honey, or lose your job. Because, you know, you have to play nice with the boys that want to fondle you and grope you and rub against you inappropriately and think it's funny in front of their other male co-workers. But the movie uses the title, Working Girl, as that double entendre that she is going through. She wants to be more. She wants to be a trader working in arbitrage. And if you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. She just wants to be a real respected co-worker. And one of my favorite lines from that movie, one of my favorite movie lines of all time, I'm not steak. You can't order me. And yet we have men and some women wanting us to go back to those days where women were just a menu item. I'll have that, please. Because, you know, a man is a man, a woman is a woman, and I'll order that one off the menu, please. Oh, good Lord. It's never how it worked in cells. So, most people that go to work now, they're not there for that by any means. But then we get into the social settings. Like, you'd think on the work level, this is common sense, right? Football is a job for an NFL player. That's his job. That's how he's supposed to act for his job. How you're supposed to act for your job isn't like that. But then we get into this whole social setting, and men lose their minds. Well, I'm supposed to open the door. I'm not supposed to open the door. Some women lose their minds. I don't want to open my door. Other women are like, okay, good grief, people. All right. Again, we teach different levels and standards. You can still follow the same standards you were taught to follow in social settings, assuming you were taught them properly. My sons were taught properly. If my sons take a young woman to a nice restaurant, I expect that they are going to, if any of these young women ever get to meet me, are going to explain to me how wonderful he was that he opened the doors and how he stood when she left the table and how he stood when she came back. Not McDonald's, but, you know, it takes to a real restaurant, real maitre d'. It's not rocket science. It's not molecular science. You don't have to tear it down to one sentence and think that explains it. You're absolutely stupid as hell if that's how you think it works. When you say, oh, it's common sense. No, you're mixing up common sense with your own idiocy because you apparently aren't capable of recognizing different settings and behaving appropriately. It's not that complicated. Don't blame society because, oh, we need to go back to when I understood the rules. You apparently didn't understand the rules then either. We don't need to go backwards in time because you can't understand simple rules that you apparently didn't understand back then either. You're in a social setting, you're on a date, open the damn door. If she doesn't like you opening the door, find a woman that actually does. Don't bitch about it like a whiny whiner. And if you're a woman who doesn't want the door open for you on a date, okay, there's plenty of those shitbags that won't open the door for you. I promise you. Because I will tell you a personal story. When my boys were teenagers, I had a guy show up that I actually really liked the guy. I thought this is going to be cool. So he came to the door, he rang the doorbell, and my son let him in and said, she's going to be a few minutes. She's running behind. So he and my son stand there and talk for a little bit. And then we walk out. After I come out, he said, oh, you look nice, and we walk out. He goes into my driveway, walks around his truck, hops in. I turned around, walked right back in my house. My son says, well, that was a short date. What happened? I said, he didn't open the door for me. Are you serious? I raised my boys right. I go in my room, I'm pretty disappointed. I'm like, what a jerk. Guy comes, rings the doorbell. Did your mom forget something? My mom's not going out with you. What do you mean she's not going out with me? You didn't open the door for her. She doesn't go out with people like that. You have to be raised right. Raised right is not a man is a man and a woman is a woman. Raised right means you know the difference between social settings, work settings, sports settings. You understand those nuances like normal adults would. To those of you that didn't need to watch this and you're just laughing your asses off, cool beans, man. Thank God you exist. For those of you that don't know the rules and actually watched and now are going, I don't understand, watch again. Anyway, happy hump day. Get you some. Peace.